What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Turnbuckle Topics podcast. I'm your host, Pat Deneen, and this is my preview for tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. A lot to look forward to. We'll see the undisputed WWE Champion, Cody Rhodes. We'll see Logan Paul and their contract signing for King of the Ring next Saturday. Their matchup is a champion versus champion. Is the undisputed WWE Championship only on the line? Is Logan Paul's WWE United States Championship on the line? I guess we'll find all that out later tonight. Exactly, all those fine details of what's happening. There's been all kinds of confusion the past week. And so before I get started here, talking about the second round of the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament tonight, we have 4 matches. We have 2 women's matches, 2 men's matches, and we're going to get to both of those sides in just a moment. But earlier today, the USA Network posted that 31 years ago today, we saw one of the biggest upsets in WWE history, quite possibly, at the time at least, especially on Monday Night Raw. This was the early years of WWE's Monday Night Raw, the very beginning stages of it at the Manhattan Center. And this is where we saw the 1-2-3 Kid scoring an upset victory over Razor Ramon. And this was huge. I certainly remember it. What was I at the time? Barely 7 years old or so. And it was a very epic moment, you know, that led the 1-2-3 Kid to have a pretty great career. Shortly thereafter, a few years later, went to WCW. He was a member of the NWO. 6 was his name. Returned to WWE shortly thereafter as X-Pac, joining D-Generation X. He's in the Hall of Fame with the NWO and D-Generation X, and although he probably never will go in the Hall of Fame as a single star, he's a 2-time Hall of Famer with both of those factions, and I really truly believe this match put him over into that category. He had numerous championships after this, whether it was tag team championships. I believe he was, a European champion, and quite a few. He's got quite a pretty good resume, so shout out to the 1-2-3 Kid, 6, X-Pac, whatever you want to call him. And prior to this match, he was still called the Kid. And they added the 1-2-3 bit due to him pinning Razor Ramon 31 years ago today. So as I mentioned, as far as Friday Night SmackDown's concerned, tonight we have the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes and the United States Champion Logan Paul, who will make their way to making the match official with a contract signing taking place, where we'll find out all the details. We know it's champion versus champion. Will Cody only be defending his title? Will Logan Paul be defending his title as well? Is it a winner-take-all? I don't think it is. As far as I know, Cody will be the only one defending his title here, and so we'll see what exactly is going to take place as far as that's concerned. Now let's get to the 4 matches. Again, 2 for the King of the Ring tournament, 2 for the Queen of the Ring tournament, and this is a big deal. We're going to see, as we get closer, going to the semifinals of this tournament. We're just a week away from King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, where the finals will take place for both the men and the women. So tonight, the 2 women's matches that we have to look forward to, the EST of WWE, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Bianca Belair, going up against Tiffany Stratton. And in the other match, the other half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Jade Cargill, going one-on-one with Nia Jax. As I mentioned on a previous episode, it's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to play out. Long story short, as far as the SmackDown side is concerned, and we found out this past Monday on Raw, the 2 representatives from Raw that will be going head-to-head in their semifinal this Monday on Raw is Io Sky, the former WWE Women's Champion, going one-on-one with the former NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria. So Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria is going to be a great match on Monday. Early prediction as far as those 2 are concerned, I'm going to go with Io Sky getting the win. Now, when I looked at tonight, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Nia Jax, it's really hard to say. I could see a couple of scenarios here. We could certainly see Bianca versus Jade, see the 2 tag team champions go head-to-head. Very intriguing match, really is. I mean, we could easily see Bianca Belair going one-on-one with Nia Jax. We could just as easily see Tiffany Stratton going one-on-one with Jade Cargill. I think the only scenario we certainly don't see here is Tiffany Stratton going one-on-one with Nia Jax. Not just because they're both heels, but I think one of the, at least one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions got to make it to the semifinals for this tournament, for Queen of the Ring. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm not 110% confident in my choices for these women's matches tonight, but I'm going to go with Bianca Belair getting the win over Tiffany Stratton. That's who I'm going to go with. That's who I could see winning here. And as far as Jade Cargill and Nia Jax are concerned, this is difficult. As much as I'd like to see the 2 tag team champions go face-to-face, which we very well may see happen, I'm going to go with Nia Jax getting the win. I am. So I'm going to go with Bianca Belair and Nia Jax going head-to-head in the semifinals for this Queen of the Ring tournament. And that's just how I see it playing out. I think we could very easily see Bianca Belair versus Io Sky going one-on-one for the Queen of the Ring final next weekend. We saw these two put on quite the display last May, if you remember, at Backlash in Puerto Rico. Fantastic match. Io Sky was loved by that Puerto Rico crowd for sure. And I would love to see those two go at it. There's history there. Again, Damage Control with Io Sky and Bianca Belair here. Of course, she's had some long history the last 2 years with Damage Control, always in her business one way or another. So I could see Io versus Bianca for sure. This time, no title on the line, but what's at stake is Queen of the Ring, so that could be very intriguing. Now, to round 2 of the King of the Ring tournament here tonight, we have Randy Orton going one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes, and in the other matchup, we have LA Knight going one-on-one with the Bloodline's Tama Tonga. Two very intriguing matches, as I've said throughout the duration of this tournament, on the men's and the women's side. A lot of matchups we've never gotten to see before, just like these two we have right here. So I got to go with Randy Orton. Carmelo Hayes had a good week last week, as they both did. They both advanced. But Carmelo Hayes got his first official win as a member of the Smackdown roster against Baron Corbin. He's 1-1, right? He lost the previous week to Cody Rhodes in the main event of SmackDown. And so, look, if Melo loses again, starting off 1-2 on SmackDown, look who he's losing to. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. No reason to hang his head on those two losses for sure. And you know what? He got a win for what it's worth in the King of the Ring tournament. He's the newcomer. He's fantastic. Had a great couple of years in NXT. We all know that. He's going to do great on the main roster. I believe it. I'm sure many believe it. But I don't think it's his time as far as advancing in this tournament. So going to go with Randy Orton to advance to the finals of SmackDown, at least, the semifinals overall. And in the other matchup here, it's very interesting because, we've seen LA Knight and Randy Orton mix it up a little bit. They were both part of that fatal four-way at the Royal Rumble. Also Kevin Owens. And, of course, the champion at the time, Roman Reigns, for his title. So we've seen them mix it up to a point this year. And, of course, Tama Tonga, the newcomer. He's been here, 4 or 5 weeks, ever since debuting with this new bloodline alongside Solo Sikoa. And so, I want to go with what seems to be the obvious choice with LA Knight. But realistically, especially if you watched Raw this past week, with Jey Uso surprising a lot of us, getting that win over Dragunov, going to the final this Monday on Raw, the semifinals overall in the tournament, Gunther going up against Jey Uso. The two met in February where Gunther got the win in defense to Jey Uso. His brother, Jimmy Uso, came in and interfered in that Intercontinental Championship match. That's why he suffered that defeat. And so we're going to see that rematch. And so it begs the question, if we do see Tama Tonga win tonight, which would surprise a lot of us, just like we were all surprised, most of us at least, again, that Jey Uso won on Monday Night Raw, could we potentially see a battle of the new bloodline versus the old bloodline? Could we see Tama Tonga representing SmackDown, Jey Uso representing Raw, and they run that storyline through the King of the Ring? Although it sounds semi-intriguing, I'm not necessarily a fan of it. I think Gunther should win this whole tournament, absolutely, without question. Regain that momentum after losing his Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 40 to Sami Zayn. And I think that's how it should go. I think the guy who should come out of SmackDown is Randy Orton, regardless who wins, Tama Tonga, LA Knight. And so simply put, I'm going to go with Randy Orton tonight, and I'm going to go with LA Knight defeating Tama Tonga. And like I said, if Tama is to win tonight by some, I don't want to call it a long shot, but just surprisingly gets the victory, then we very well may be on our way to seeing Tama Tonga versus Jey Uso potentially. But again, I think we're more likely to see Randy Orton go one-on-one with Gunther. But it's going to be very intriguing next round regardless because, you see Tama Tonga go up against LA Knight tonight. And regardless who Randy faces next week, LA Knight he has history with. And, of course, Tama Tonga, the Bloodline, we saw them go have that tag team match a couple weeks ago at Backlash. Him and KO lost to Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa due to the interference of Tama's brother, Tonga Loa, interfering, another new member to the new Bloodline. So that's what I'm going with tonight. My 4 picks, again, going with Bianca Belair and Nia Jax on the women's side. On the men's side, going with Randy Orton and LA Knight. And so that's how I see things shaking up here on Friday Night SmackDown. And so we'll see. Enjoy the show tonight, folks. That's really all I got for you here today. It's a brief one, but I got to what I needed to right before the start time here. So enjoy SmackDown. We'll have a lot more clarity on what we're looking at going into the final week, the home stretch for this King and the Queen of the Ring tournament. So as always, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Turnbuckle Topics podcast. I'm your host, Pat Deneen, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.